Saturday. So, gonna give people a second here if they want to join. Goodness. Apparently I have trouble opening my water bottle with one hand. There we go. How about that? Okay. It's important to be well hydrated. So, while we're kind of giving people maybe a couple minutes to join if they want, not a whole lot in the way of updates. However, Hancock Helps continues to be updated with any kind of agency stuff that's going on. Any updates from the city or the county is going to be there. Reminder, kind of that call line for the county is live. So if you got general questions, you can call them. And then there's also the triage and testing line through Blanchard Valley Health. So if you think you're having symptoms of the COVID-19 virus, you can call them. A nurse will answer. They'll give you, kind of go through the pre-screening questions with you and, kind of give you further directions then. So, okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Today's recovery check-in, as usual. I just silenced my notifications. I forgot to do that. Okay. So we're going to start, though, with our gratitude moment. And so I was thinking about that this morning, and I was like, what am I grateful for today? And there's always a lot of things. And when I was thinking about gratitude this morning, I was excuse me, I was actually thinking about like food. I'm very grateful that, I and my family, like, we have enough food. And I was thinking about that food supply chain. I was like, how often though do we express gratitude for something and we don't actually like take the time to think through all the steps that it took to get that thing there. So really all of the things that we have to be grateful for along the way. So like, for example, like I love toast, like buttery toast. Like I feel like toast is a highly underrated food of the world. Especially you get that nice toastiness and you get the butter on top and it melts and it kind of gets into the top part of the bread and it's just like, so good, so yeah, I can say like, I'm grateful for toast. I'm grateful to have a toaster and I'm grateful to have bread. But if you really think about that gratitude extends like along that whole like food supply chain, all the way to the farmers and the agricultural workers who grew the wheat to make the bread. And, to the people who supply the seeds and all the other crop supplies that are needed to grow that crop to be healthy, to the workers who grow it and harvest it, to the people who take that grain in, who then ship it out to a factory, to a manufacturing center to be manufactured. Every single person that has a hand in processing maybe that wheat to make that loaf of bread, to breaking it down to make flour, to then taking the flour and mixing it up to make the bread, and taking the bread and putting it in a package and getting that package of bread to the grocery store, whether that came by truck or boat or plane or train or what have you. And then it gets to the grocery store and then it's got to be unpacked and it's got to be on the shelf and be stocked. And so all the grocery store workers and the distributors and people working behind the scenes and logistics and making sure that all of that goes, and the cashiers that are, checking me out. So all I can do is take my loaf of bread home, stick it in the toaster, make some toast, and put some bread on it. Like that, we're literally like, we're talking like hundreds, if not thousands of people that I am grateful for who helped me have toast. Gratitude can just be expansive, and sometimes like I call that like slightly kind of like rabbit hole kind of thinking, because in a not good way, sometimes you can kind of go down the rabbit hole and thinking kind of negative thoughts, but you can also kind of spin that upward and go up the rabbit hole. I don't know. We'll have to figure out a different kind of saying for that, but apply that to gratitude, and then it makes your moment of gratitude from something small into this expansive kind of thing, where you are thinking through and expressing gratitude along the way. Because, all of those jobs, whether that's working in a manufacturing center, or whether it's being a farmer, an agricultural worker, or working in shipping, working in logistics, working in a grocery store, all of those occupations comes with pros and cons and goods and bads and sideways and backwards and all the things. But I am genuinely grateful for every single person that chooses those occupations, that helps keep things going, that helps the food keep coming to the table, that helps make all of our society happen. So if gratitude is something you practice every day, and I'm hoping that it does, I want you to think about the thing that you're grateful for and where did that come from? And be grateful for all of the steps along the way. Even if what you're grateful for is maybe your hope. Where did your hope for that day come from? Did it come from you? Did it come from a friend? Did it come from someone that you're inspired by? Did it come from a book? Who wrote the book? Who published the book? Who made the paper that the book was published on? There are always all of those things that you can be grateful for. So that's a little bit about gratitude today. I'm going to kind of expand a little bit on taking good care of yourself for today's recovery check-in. And, I've been talking to a lot of the staff people at Focus, and we've been checking in with one another, making sure that everything's okay. And, or really as okay as it can be right now, because stuff's still weird. And we're talking about that whole concept of, social distancing, and that can be hard, especially for people who feel alone and feel isolated on a day-to-day. The concept of social distancing is difficult. Or if you're extroverted, the concept of social distancing is difficult to kind of wrap your brain around. But kind of yesterday, I started hearing it more, and I was actually talking to a staff person. I was like, what if we kind of shift our perspective about that a little bit? And instead of looking at social distancing, we look at it as physical distancing, because that's a different thing. Physical distancing just means that I'm staying farther away from you physically. It doesn't mean that socially we're not connecting, like socially I'm connecting with each and every one of you that watches this video. I'm connecting socially with everybody that messages our Facebook page or sends me an email or calls us and says, hey, we saw your post, or hey, we saw your video, or, hey, I just need someone to tell me it's going to be okay. That's not social distance. I mean, that's us being socially close, physically distant, but socially close. So if you're a person who's struggling with those recommendations for distancing, shift that perspective just a wee bit, and try to think about it more as physical distancing rather than social distancing. Just because, I can't run up and give each one of you a hug right now, doesn't mean that we can't connect. Okay, we just got to do that a little bit different way. So I was thinking about today, and I'll be honest, like yesterday was hectic for me, and this morning was hectic, and I was thinking about, what? This is a weird time, because there's a lot of us who are spending perhaps more time in an enclosed area with people that we normally don't spend that much time with. We may love them a lot. We may really care about them. Maybe they're our family members. But we're maybe spending way more time with them than we ever did before, and that can be a challenge. I was talking to one of my colleagues this morning, and she was sharing how in her house, like both her and her partner are working from home, and they were like kind of working in the same area, and then she was like, literally he was driving me up the wall. So she moved her desk into a whole different area of the house, and like even I noticed that in myself today. Like I am coming to you from my car, because my car is someplace where I get to be alone right now. I have a daughter who is a year and a half years old. That doesn't make a lot of sense. 18 months, a year and a half. There we go. those words. And I love her. I love her so much, but that doesn't mean I don't need a break from her every now and then too. So I have left her in the very capable care of her father, and I am sitting in the car by myself. Because I'm a kind of person, like, I know myself enough, like, I need to be alone too. And that is going to allow me to show up as the best mom I can be, as the best human being that I can be, because I need that alone time. And it seems weird, because we're in this time right now where, like, social distance, let me shift that, physical distance is a thing, and so we may not be physically near some of the people that we're used to. Our work schedules may have changed, or they may not have, or they may have shifted, and there might be fewer people where you work, but things are just different kind of overall. And normally in those kinds of times we think about, coming together and being with one another, and it's like all of those things that as soon as someone tells you do not touch the glass thing on the shelf because you're going to break it, what do you want to do? You of course want to touch the glass thing on the shelf. So, right now, for everyone's health, they're recommending, that people stay 6 feet apart from each other. And as soon as someone tells you have to stay 6 feet apart from someone, you're like, oh, I just want to get up all in their personal space and give them a hug, but you can't. Okay? And so, it's kind of weird to want to be alone right now. So, kind of me being alone and having my car. I'm really grateful for my car and everything that went into making this car. Being alone right now is okay too. So if you're the kind of person that you need that, you need to take a break from the peopling of the people in your life, please do so. Because so for me, like a second part of being okay, being alone and needing to be alone, giving myself that grace and space and permission to do that, is also like letting other people have their emotions. I worked really hard in my recovery to be okay with my emotions. Still working on being okay with other people's emotions. But so like they get to have that too. So, if I'm with someone and we are just driving each other like up the wall because we're not used to being in that close proximity to someone, and they might get frustrated with me and I might get frustrated with them, like, that's okay. I get to let them have their emotions over there, just like I get to have my emotions over here. But I get to do the personally responsible thing and get to have the recovery response in that and express those emotions responsibly, express that in a way that is okay. And so for me, that means going to the car and sitting in the car by myself, recollecting myself, recollecting. We're going to go with recollecting for that one. Collecting my thoughts, collecting my feelings, taking a breath, because I need that break to just breathe. And you know what? The person on the other side of that, if they're frustrated with me, like, they get to go do whatever they need to do to deal with those feelings. Because again, we are in this weird situation. I'm not going to take that personally right now because that would be silly. We're operating out of our typical routines. We're operating outside of our kind of typical scope of things. And, so I'm going to manage my frustrations. I'm going to let them manage their frustrations. And if they don't, that's on them. I ask our staff people all the time, like, when you're interacting with someone, is that a them thing or a you thing? So, if when I go back into my house, if that person is still frustrated with me, like, that's a them thing at that point, not a me thing. I can encourage them and I can say, hey, have you thought about going and doing something that's good for you that can help you manage these feelings? And if they do that, great. If they don't, that's on them. Like, I don't have to sit in their crap. They get to do their own thing. I get to do my own thing. So I want to put that out there about it's okay to be alone. It's okay to have your own emotions, and it's okay to let other people have their emotions, and you don't have to take that in, and you don't have to own that at all. You know, you can, I like to say, put on your emotional chainmail. And I call it emotional chainmail because armor, like emotional armor, to me sounds cold. And when you put armor on, like nothing gets in, like not the good, not the bad, nothing. Whereas with chainmail, like it's I don't know if you've seen chainmail, but it's all these little like link things, and you put them together, and you know, there's still holes. So when you put on that emotional chainmail, you still have a buffer between you and someone else's emotions, but it still lets stuff in. It still lets you be human. It still lets you have emotions, because those emotions can get through that chainmail. They can impact you, the good and the bad and the sideways and the indifferent, because as a human being, we need all of those emotions and all of those things to be all right. So again, so like I get to have my emotions, I get to have their emotions over there, and they get to express in a responsible way. I get to express mine in a responsible way. And hey Lou. And you know, we get to do that as people. So I challenge you to think about that. So I've challenged you a couple things. one, gratitude, taking that gratitude train like really super far, and you know, going down that whole road of whatever you're grateful for, figuring out how it got there, being grateful for that whole process. And then I'm also challenging you to figure out like that emotional chainmail, like what that is for you. How can you be resilient in kind of who you are and what you're doing and all of that, and not take it in. You know, you can let it impact you, because you're a human being and you have a heart and you have a soul, and I'm so glad that you do, but you don't have to own it. You can kind of let that stuff bounce off. So yeah. On another random thought today, and I'm just gonna like throw this out there because I don't know if somebody's got an answer for this. I was thinking about toothpaste this morning, and I was kind of wondering about why we don't call it tooth soap. Why do we call it toothpaste? Because toothpaste is essentially like soap for your teeth, right? So I don't know why we call it toothpaste and not tooth soap. Maybe because tooth soap is hard to say. However, also, in like a total goofy random thing, I think there's two types of people in the world when it comes to toothpaste. Like those people when they're brushing their teeth and like foam at the mouth, like me, like it's just like everywhere. And other people who when they're brushing their teeth, it's like still all nice and orderly. And I was thinking about this because I'm teaching my daughter how to brush her teeth, and she's totally going to be like me because she just gets toothpaste everywhere, and it's amusing. So, you know, for the messy toothbrushers of the world, I got your back. You are my people. So just, again, I don't know, I was thinking about this morning. So if you have an answer to why we call it toothpaste and not tooth soap, leave a comment on this, send a message, because I'm genuinely curious. It's a thing I need to know, just in case it's ever asked of me on some random trivia game. Why it's called toothpaste and not tooth soap, let me know. So, I'm gonna be wrapping this up, because otherwise I'm probably gonna start rambling about a whole bunch of other random stuff, and it's probably gonna involve trees and flowers, and I don't even know. I mean, I don't know. It could get weirder. So we're gonna wrap it up before it does. I want to remind you of a couple things. We meaning Focus, we have an open recovery meeting today at 4 and every day at 4. So that meets virtually via Zoom. So I will endeavor to remember to put the link to that Zoom meeting in the comments of this video, so that way if you're watching it later or whatever, you can join that meeting either by your phone app or by your computer, or you can call in. So those are options. If you have trouble connecting, holler. We will totally help you brainstorm that and help you kind of work through that so you can get connected. Get to some people who are in recovery. Again, it's just an open recovery meeting, recovery from anything, for anything, just covering kind of some general recovery topics. I want you to remember today that one of the most powerful tools that you have against your daily battles is finding the courage to be grateful, to have gratitude, the courage to have gratitude. Words can be hard. Thank goodness it's Saturday. So find the courage to be grateful. Take that gratitude to the nth degree, and be courageous. Keep your hearts and minds resilient. And I will see you guys tomorrow at noon for our Sunday recovery check-in. So thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have a topic, feel free to let us know, and we'll be happy to cover that. Otherwise, we'll see y'all tomorrow. All right, bye. Can't get it to end.